All right, let's continue with the 6th overall pick in the draft. There are our guesses for the top 5. Miami Dolphins, after going from 3 to 12, now it's 6. Myles Simmons, what do they do?
I believe they picked DeVonta Smith. I think they're going to reunite Tua Tagovailoa and DeVonta Smith. Those two did things that were really good at Alabama. I think that the Miami Dolphins want to keep getting speed down there on their offensive side of the ball. And I think obviously Smith, a Heisman Trophy winner, he's got that. He can provide that. And, he's already got a little bit of built-in chemistry with Tua. So I think that'd be a good pick for him.
Most of these are educated guesses or complete guesses. This one is more educated guess than complete guess. Okay. I think they go Jaylen Waddle with the 6th overall pick. Based on the board as we've constructed it, I think they go Jaylen Waddle. There's going to be the opportunity to trade out. Quarterback's still there. You've got Mac Jones still there. I've got Trey Lance still there. I think they go Jaylen Waddle. And Jaylen Waddle, I think, gets the edge over Jamar Chase because Chase opted out last year, and I think that's going to hurt him. I wish that wasn't the case. I hope that's not the case. But I think it's going to be Jaylen Waddle, 6th overall to the Miami Dolphins. That's just my gut feeling.
Okay. Well, I mean, it was last year that everybody thought that Jerry Jeudy was going to be the first Alabama wide receiver off the board, and it ends up being Henry Ruggs. And I think we still don't know if that was or was not a mistake. Maybe, we will see in this upcoming season. But for the next pick with the Lions at number 7 overall, I feel like if there's still a QB on the board right here, this is definitely a place where they could trade out. Because the Lions are rebuilding, they need to be able to get guys. And unless they think Mac Jones is their quarterback of the future and is going to be somebody better than Jared Goff, then they would pick him. I don't necessarily know if that's the case. But in this scenario where we're not trading picks, I would say that the Lions get somebody like Jamar Chase because he is such a big play receiver. Right now, their wideouts are very iffy, kind of, at best. I mean, Kenny Galladay's gone. Jones is gone. So they need somebody to be a big play guy. And I think that he can come in and he can probably be that. He made all kinds of plays with Joe Burrow down there when they won the national championship.
Hey, I actually have the top 2 quarterbacks, or not 2, but I have 2 left. I have Trey Lance and Justin Fields left. I don't think Chris Spielman, former Ohio State, great. I don't think he's going to be able to resist Justin Fields there if he's there at 7. And I think Spielman's got a lot more juice than people realize. Jared Goff is definitely a short-term thing. They traded for him in part because, number 1, they don't have a veteran guy. Number 2, they picked up an extra first-round pick to do so. They didn't get 2 1s and a 3 for Matthew Stafford. They got a 1 and a 3 for Stafford and a 1 to take on that contract. I think they take Justin Fields in that spot, Myles.
I like that. If he's still there, yeah, I think that would make sense because I feel like he's a different type of quarterback than a Jared Goff, and I think he maybe might fit what Anthony Lynn would construct for an offense a little bit better than a Jared Goff would, just because Justin Fields has that mobility. For 8, I kind of go back and forth for the Panthers between an offensive lineman and Kyle Pitts, who is still on the board, especially because the Panthers just... Man, they don't have anybody who can really make plays at tight end. At least they didn't last year. But I'm going to go with Rashawn Slater because they really do need a tackle. They have to get somebody to come in there and replace Russell Okung. So I think if they do that, they're at least setting up Sam Darnold to have a better chance at success and better protection. And you really want to be able to evaluate Sam Darnold this year because if it turns out that he's no good, you know that you're going to be in that quarterback derby again next year. And if he doesn't have good protection, you might not be able to evaluate him properly.
They're going to be tempted to take Trey Lance at 8, but I think that they're going to go with somebody to help Sam Darnold be as good as he can be. Curtis Samuel left via free agency. Jamar Chase is still available. Coach Matt Rule said we now can take the best player who's there when we pick, and Jamar Chase, in my mind, is that guy. So I'll go Chase at 8 to the Panthers.
All right, that makes plenty of sense. At the Broncos at number 9. So that's where either the Broncos probably could trade back if Mac Jones is still on the board, or I would they could do what I think they're going to do and take him.
Why wouldn't they take Jones? Take Jones, yes.
That's what I'm saying, yes. That's exactly what I'm going to say. Yeah, they're going to take Mac Jones because I think that they probably would evaluate him as being better than Drew Lock. And I mean, you know what? Drew Lock has made some plays. He's shown some traits. But I think the experience that Mac Jones can bring into that program from being from Alabama, from playing in the pro system, he might be somebody that can supplant Drew Lock day one as a starting quarterback. And so if you are able to get your quarterback of the future, I think that that's something that they're going to want to do. Because Drew Lock, George Paton doesn't have any allegiance to him. He didn't draft him. So that's why I think that at that point, that's what they would do.
I'll go Trey Lance, same reason. It's just Lance is the guy who's left for me. Jones was the guy who's left for you. They've been looking for an upgraded quarterback. I think if they don't get a quarterback in round one, that's when they end up doing a deal for Teddy Bridgewater. There's a chance they would do that deal before the draft. I think they want to see how the top 10 plays out, who they get in round one. And then if they don't have a quarterback by the end of round one, before the draft continues the next day, I think they would get Teddy Bridgewater. I'm guessing for a 5th or a 6th round pick, with Carolina paying $3 million of his salary, him getting $9 million more from the Broncos, a total of $12 million, and I think he'd become most likely the starter for 2021. All right, who do you have for your 10th pick? Dallas Cowboys. Do they give in to the infatuation that Jerry Jones has with Kyle Pitts?
Boy, I feel like they would really, really want to, because Kyle Pitts is somebody that could be really, really good. But I think sometimes you have to draft for need when your defense is as bad as the Dallas Cowboys defense was. So I'm going to give them Patrick Surtain II. I think he's a really good cornerback. I think he can develop into the type of guy that they need on the outside to pair opposite Diggs. And if you do that, then, yeah, you know, it's not necessarily going to be the same offensively. But I think they have a good enough offense already that even though you probably want to draft best player available, I can certainly see them drafting Pitts. But I feel like in this scenario, weirdly enough, Pitts is going to fall out of the top 10.
They need a heart and soul of that defense, frankly. And I know Jalen Smith has been that to a certain extent, and it was Sean Lee. They got to go best available defensive player. They have the run of the entire defensive board. This is kind of like having the first pick in the draft, because they shouldn't be taking an offensive player. They don't have needs on offense like they do on defense. So I'll give them Micah Parsons, the Penn State linebacker, although they could go 3-4 different ways. They could go Kwity Paye, the Michigan defensive lineman. They could go Caleb Farley, the Virginia Tech corner. But they got to come out of that round one with a difference maker on defense, because they need plenty of them if they want to get to where they want to be.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.